Hello, grade threes. Welcome to our virtual math classroom. Today we are going to start our next unit on division. Now, some students tend to think that division is a little harder than multiplication. That sometimes is true, but you guys did such a good job on the multiplication that I'm very sure that we're going to have just as much success with division. Mostly because division is related to multiplication in the same way that addition is related to subtraction. And you guys did so good at addition and subtraction, so this should be a piece of cake. So the first question we're going to ask is, what is division? What does it mean to divide something? So think about it. Think about other words that could mean divide. Some words that I thought of were split, to share, to separate, and to put things into groups, so grouping. Now, all of those words mean to divide. So think about places or times when you might have heard someone say, we need to divide this. If you listen to the story that I read in The Great Divide, the racers in the race kept getting divided and divided and divided. So you might have heard it there, or you might have heard it in class when myself or Miss Dennis says, okay, now divide yourselves into groups of 3, or divide yourself into groups of 2. Now, what about something about division that you need to remember, and it was the same with multiplication, is when you divide something into groups, the groups have to be equal. I hope you all yelled equal at me. So just like when Miss Dennis and I say divide yourself into groups of 2 or divide yourself into a group of 3, each group usually has 2 in it, and each group, or if it's 3, they all have 3 in it. So that's a type of division. You might hear someone say divide, like say you and your siblings go trick-or-treating and you get all of this candy, and at the end you put all of that candy into a pile, and then you don't want to divide it equally so that you all have the same amount. That's division. So dividing is taking a big altogether number and putting it into equal groups and then seeing how many is in those groups. And that's pretty much it. That's all division is. So it's kind of the opposite of multiplication. Multiplication was when we took a number of groups and we times it by how many were in the group to get our big altogether number. With division, we start with our big altogether number, we divide it into groups, and then we see how many groups we could make. We're just switching the numbers around. It's all related. So let's talk about division, and let's just use an example from our classroom. So students in my class, you guys will recognize this prize basket. And today we're talking about sharing equally. So we're not even going to worry about dividing right now. We're just going to talk about sharing. So pretend it's the end of the year and Miss Christal's like, you know what? I have all these prizes left and I don't want to keep them. So I want to divide them equally by my class, by everyone in my class. So how could I equally divide this number of prizes by everyone in the class? Take a second, think about that. What could I do to equally give everybody enough prizes? Because if you look at this, there's more than enough prizes for everyone to get at least 2 or 3, but I don't know how many they can get yet because I haven't done it. So how could I divide this equally? Well, what if I said, okay, I'm going to give 5 prizes to Emmett, then I'm going to give 5 prizes to Cameron C, then I'm going to give 5 prizes to Jessica, then 5 prizes to Sadie, then 5 prizes to Cameron E, and so on and so on and so on. And then what if I got to Olivia and I didn't have any prizes left? Everybody else got 5, but she didn't get 5. So is that a good way to divide? No. What if I did 2 prizes each? And I gave 2 prizes to Will and 2 prizes to Lilia and 2 prizes to Emily. And then we get all the way through the class and then we get to Willow and there's like 10 prizes left. Should I just give all those prizes to Willow? No. As much as Willow would like that, that's not fair. So we're trying to be fair, right? Equal. So the best way to do this would probably be to give 1 prize to everybody at the start. So do a round of prizes. It's like a wand. Do a round of prizes. Everybody gets 1. Then I see how much I have left over. Then I give everybody another 1. And I see how much I have left over. And again, and again, and again, until they're all divided out equally. That's kind of what we're going to do today. We're going to make groups by dividing things equally, by giving things giving groups one at a time until I don't have any more left. And we're gonna practice that, first with the question on the board, then we're gonna move forward, and together we're going to work on page 172. And then at the very end of the video, I'm going to go over the instructions for page 79. So as always, if we do the question on the board and then a couple questions on here and you're like, yeah, Miss Christal, I got this, this is easy, make sure you skip to the end of the video and watch the instructions for page 79, because Ms. Dennis and I are still getting people who are not reading the instructions properly and not handing in correct work. And if that happens, you have to go back and redo it. So watch the instructions, make sure you know what you're doing. Okay, let's do the board question behind me. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, there. So our sharing equally question is, Kip and Ophelia shared 10 dragon treats. How many treats does each dragon get? So if I'm sharing 10 treats between two dragons, we want to first make sure that our groups are equal, because I know that Kip is going to be really grumpy if Olivia doesn't eat dragon treats, if Ophelia gets more treats than him. So we want the groups to be equal. The amount of treats that they each get should be equal. So I'm going to do this question with counters. So try to follow along here. Okay, so I said that we had 10 dragon treats. All together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 dragon treats all together. Now Kip is going to get some treats, and Ophelia is going to get some treats. But we want to make sure that they both get equal treats, because we don't want grumpy grade 3 dragons. So just like I said I would do this with the prizes, I'm going to give each dragon one treat at a time until there's no treats left. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. And I have no treats left. Now I got to make sure that both dragons got equal treats. Okay, Kip got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ophelia got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our question was, how many treats does each dragon get? So our answer would be 5. Each dragon got 5 treats when we shared 10 treats equally. And for those of you who are wondering how this relates to division, well, we're going to take our big altogether number, so 10 treats, and then we're going to divide it by how many groups. So in this case, there's 2 dragons, meaning 2 groups of treats. So one group of treats, 2 groups of treats. So 10 treats divided by 2 dragons equals, and then our answer is how many treats each dragon got? 5. So 10 divided into 2 groups equals 5 in a group. When we did multiplication, we would do 2 groups times how many in a group would equal 10. But with division, we're starting with our big altogether number. In multiplication, our altogether number was the answer, but not this time. With division, our answer is called the quotient. In multiplication, our answer was called the product. Now it's called the quotient, which is a way more fun word, in my opinion. So today we're not going to worry so much about this division question. We're mostly worried about how to share equally in groups, which is what we did. Our answer would have been 5. Now we're going to go through page 172 together. Remember, grade 3s, I am using marker because I want you to see my work. You are all using pencil. Last week, I got someone handing things in and they had done it in pencil crayon. It was really hard to read, so please make sure you're doing things in pencil. Okay. So, sharing equally, and our goal is to solve problems that involve equal sharing. Equal is our big word. I know that there's already a picture drawn here, but that's because I messed up the last video and had to refilm. So ignore that picture, but don't, because we're going to use it. So our first question, 1A, says, in art class, 5 students share 10 pieces of construction paper equally. So how many pieces of paper will each student get? Show your work, include a sketch. Sketch is a drawing, just like last week. So we are looking at 10 pieces of construction paper total, all of these construction papers, and we are sharing them by 5 students. I drew a circle, one for each student, so that when we're passing out the paper, that would be somewhere for it to go. Now, how are we going to do this? How are we going to divide 10 or share 10 pieces of paper by 5 students? How many are they each going to get? Well, we're going to do this by drawing a picture, and we're going to pass them out the same way we gave Kip and Ophelia the treats, one at a time. And what number am I counting up to? 10, because there's 10 pieces of construction paper all together. So 1 paper, 2 papers, 3 papers, 4 papers, 5 papers. So I handed out 1 paper to each student. I gave away 5 of my construction papers. So how many more do I have to give out? 5 more. So I have 5 given out, 5 papers, 6 papers, 7 papers, 8 papers, 9 papers, 10 papers. So did I give out all the construction paper? I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, I gave out all 10 pieces. Did each of the 5 students get the same amount? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. I did. So how many pieces did each student get? 2. 2 pieces of paper each. Perfect. So now that's our answer. That's it. That's all they wanted. They wanted us to divide these equally by 5 students. Now B says, what other number of students could share 10 pieces of paper equally with none left over? Show your work. So that one's a little bit more tricky. I have the 10 pieces of paper again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 pieces. And I'm just going to try some stuff. And I'm going to use my pencil because I'm going to have to erase. So what if 3 students wanted to share 10 pieces of paper? Well, I'm going to try this. So I'm going to say 1 student gets 3, another student gets 3, and another student gets 3. Does that work? Can 3 students share the paper equally? No, because there's 1 left over. So 1 kid would get an extra piece. Is that fair? No. So we can't share 10 pieces of paper by 3 students. So that did not work. So let's try sharing it by, let's do groups of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 kid gets 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another kid gets 5 pieces. Can 2 kids share 10 pieces equally? Are there any left over? 3 kids could not share 10 pieces because there was 1 extra left over. 2 kids could share 10 pieces because each kid gets 5. And this one works. So what other number of students could share 10 pieces equally? 2. The circles represent a student. So 1 student, 2 students, each student gets 5. Oh, sorry about that with the paper. So now we are going to look at, can 2 students share 11 erasers equally? Explain. And we're going to draw this again because it says to have a sketch. Can 2 students share 11 erasers equally? Explain. Include a sketch in your answer. So 11 erasers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to do this the same way we divided up Kip and Ophelia's treats. So there's 1 student here and 1 student here. The way we're going to do this is we're just going to count them out. So 1 eraser goes to this student. 1, this student. 2, 2. 3, 3. 4, 4. 5, 5. Oh, I have 1 left over. So can these 2 students share that last eraser equally? No. No, they cannot. So that was another way to do this. In here, I just circled the groups. But here, I drew all of them out, and then I put them into groups like this, and then I crossed them off to make sure I didn't do too many. So I think this way is a really good way, and I just thought of it. So sorry I didn't do it up here, but this is a good way to do it. We'll do it down here as well. So can 2 students have shared 11 erasers? And it asks us to explain. So no, because there is 1 eraser left over. Period. Capitals and periods, please. We're still in school. The last question says, can 3 students share 6 erasers equally? Let's try this way again. So I'm going to draw my big altogether number, my 6 erasers. 4, 5, 6. And now I have 3 students. So I'm going to draw 3 groups. 1, 2, 3. And 6 erasers. I'm going to take 1, put it here. Take 1, put it here. Take 1, put it here. Good. Take 1, put it here. Take 1, put it here. Take 1, put it here. Did I cross them all out? Yes. Are my groups equal? 2, 2, 2. So yes, we can share 6 erasers by 3 with 3 students because there are 2 for each student and none left over. So it depends. If you liked doing it this way, where you just counted out 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you can do it this way. If you like this way, where I just circled the groups, you can do it this way. But if this way makes the most sense to you and you're getting more answers right like this, I think this is a really good way to do it as well, where you just draw out your big altogether number and you put 1 in each, crossing them out as you go along. Awesome. So those are all the examples for this little lesson. Now we're going to go on to page 79, which is the one that is due. So please pay attention to these instructions. So our goal again is to solve problems that involve equal sharing. Make sure. Pierre and his friends have their own gardens. Nice. Like a lot of you guys have your own gardens right now. Pierre and Sarah shared 4 carrot seeds equally. How many carrot seeds did each person get? Show your work. So there's a little picture here. You can also draw your own picture of the seeds. And then just like Kip and Ophelia, you could write Pierre and Sarah. How many does Pierre get? How many does Sarah get? Divide those equally. Remember to show your work. Next, Pierre, Sarah, Maria, and Ray shared 8 tulip bulbs equally. How many tulip bulbs does each person get? So this time we have, what's our big altogether number? 8 bulbs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bulbs. And this time we're dividing it by Pierre, Sarah, Maria, and Ray. And if you don't want to write all their names down, you could just draw circles. I'm just doing it different ways. Whoa, I don't know what happened there. I'm just doing it different ways so that you can see it. And then you could 1 to Pierre, 1 to Sarah, and see how many each person gets. The last one says 2 students shared 6 crayons equally. How many crayons did each student get? Show your work, include a sketch. Include a sketch on here too. So if I don't see these sketches, this will come back to you to redo, because that's what the question asks. So draw your crayons, draw how many students you have, and divide the crayons equally. I hope this video was clear. I know there was some technical difficulties in the middle, but try your very best. As always, if you have questions, feel free to ask Miss Christal or Mrs. Dennis. We are in our office hours and available by Zoom all day, every day. I miss you guys. I hope you have a good day. Bye.